Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide, and in today's video I'm actually really excited to bring to you a Dasung 25.3-inch color Kaleido 3 powered screen. This review sample device has been sent to me directly from Dasung. So this is a review unit that they offer me to keep, but that's not something that I'm gonna do. But they actually make some really interesting offers, which is like, because of some logistical challenges, they said like, if I don't want to keep it, then I can actually donate it to some of the charities here in Norway for people who are in need and who can actually have benefit from the medical aspects of the e-ink technology, because that is the whole point of why this type of technology exists. And I just felt that it was something that was quite important to mention, because they didn't really tell me there, oh, can you mention this? No, that was just our communication. But I personally feel that that was a very nice sentiment. This is the very first time that I've actually heard that. No, second time that I've heard that, because Books also had me send some of the review units to other some schools as donations and things like that. So these companies actually do these kinds of things, and it's a nice thing to actually see when something like that happens, especially with an $1,800 expensive piece of technology such as this one is. So let's begin the unboxing and first impressions journey into this screen. First, let's take a look at what Dasung Paperlike Color Revolutionary, apparently that's the part of the name because it says everywhere with the parentheses. World's first ultra fast color e-ink monitor, 25.3 inch. So it's a 25.3 inch color e-ink monitor that is supposed to have revolutionary deghosting qualities and refresh speeds at 33 Hertz, which indeed would be really good. The price is $1,750 plus import tax, because shipping is included in this one. The package comes complete with the screen, height adjustable stand, cables, screws, I guess for Visa mounting, power adapter, user manual, enjoy hassle-free connectivity with USB, HDMI, Type-C and DP ports, along with a 1-year warranty, delivered by FedEx or UPS in 5 to 7 days. And the shipping fees are included in the price. However, please check with your custom office shop for import duties. So that's the stuff that you need to know. And of course, this part here, the really must-read important notice, I have to commend Dasung for actually putting this right at the forefront, that it's not a small print or anything, it's a giant red letters like before you go through anything. And that is the compatibility with Mac computers. And as far as that goes, basically natively they're not compatible, and they will not, this screen will not natively work normally or stably with a Macintosh based computer. Instead it will work normally with a Windows based computer. On a Mac computer, apparently you need to install a program called Still Color, or email contact@dasung.com, and this program needs to be turned on every time you use this Dasung monitor, and observe whether there is a screen flickering on Dasung monitor or on. And here's the thing, if flickering is still found, please stop using it immediately and contact us. Improper operation on your part may result in invalid warranty. It sounds like the Mac-based operation is not that straightforward and not available out of the box, but with the use of the Still Color program, it is something that you should be able to use, but obviously you have to take these precautions into account. Screens, so we got, yes, Kaleido 3 screen, God level high refresh. Wow. That really takes the cake. They literally said God level high refresh. It's not high level, it's not ultra level, it's not pro level, it's God level. All right, cool. I mean, a little overboard, but yeah, Kudos to you guys for actually going with that. Gotta love that. I mean, come on. How many products actually use the marketing speak in a phrase of godlike? So, unprecedented ultra high refresh rate, far beyond standard movie frame rates. I guess they're referring to 24 frames per second. Okay. The Paperlike Color Revo version is equipped with Dasung's next-gen god-level high refresh, delivering lightning-fast refresh speeds comparable to traditional LCD screens from yesteryear. From mouse movement to page scrolling and video playback, dynamic images are displayed with exceptional smoothness, drastically enhancing user efficiency. It's e-ink speed magic that will completely shatter your preconceptions about e-ink displays. 33 Hertz. They definitely are selling this in a strong way. Then we got auto clear ghosting removal tech, which is supposed to be, so yeah, this is an instance of an older tech with a lot of ghosting, which is something I was actually afraid of, how it would look like on a screen like this. And here we have on the on this display how it's supposed to look like, and if it does, that's going to be pretty impressive. Super bright, blindingly bright and multicolored front light. Okay, wireless display for yeah, Mirrorcast basically. Support mirror and extend display, but that's not the screen, that's actually Windows. That's the platform you connect it to. How can that be a selling point? I mean, the display doesn't have a choice in that matter, but okay. Exclusive dual dimension adjustment mechanism. What, buttons? Okay, that's a new way of saying it. Buttons. Trust us. Trust us, the physical buttons are more direct, convenient, and practical, one touch away. And actually, despite the really silly kind of, you know, marketing speak here, I do agree that the physical touch buttons are a much better way to go. They may not be kind of sexy or anything like that, but as far as a product goes and long-term usability and longevity, yeah, I'm gonna take buttons over touch areas any day of the week. This is something that's really cool because it does have a USB-A connection to your computer so that the USB-B port can actually function as a bit of a hub. It would have been nicer actually to see more USB ports, but it's excellent to see so much connectivity here, that you have HDMI, Type-C and DP port. Excellent. Comprehensive intelligent assistant software, not something we're going to be testing here, probably for the in-depth review, but this is just going to be unboxing and first impressions. Finally, a proper stand for a screen like this that actually allows tilting, swivel, height adjustable, and 90-degree rotation, which is absolutely excellent and essential for coding-like tasks, because it's or typing, like writing tasks. Wall-mounted 10x10 VESA mounting standard. And then we have finally the specifications. Yeah, Paperlike Revolutionary. That's apparently the name of the screen or the display. 25.3 inch Kaleido 3, 3200 by 1800, 150 ppi. Okay. Does that mean that the color content is then... All right, so we got 3200 by 1800, 25.3 inch resolution, and if you plug that into a quick calculator here, you get actually 145.12 pixels per inch, which is of the black and white content. That's how because that's how Kaleido screens work. And if I get to a calculator here and I go like this, that means that the color content display resolution is at 72.5-ish ppi. So that would have been nicer if we had full-on disclosure about the information here regarding that one. Speed. Dasung God level high refresh, they're sticking with it. I am absolutely in love with this. This is fantastic. I've never had a company do this. Is brilliant. We have God level high refresh speeds on this device. Yeah. X-Color filter true color, what? X-Color filter true color enhancement algorithm color. A mixed cold, warm, light color. About 4.63 kilograms of color, and 2-channel stereo speakers, of course, in color. And then we have color ports, such as standard HDMI color, standard DP1 color, Type-C color, USB-A color, 3 USB-B color, 1 DC power DC005 color, and 3.5 millimeter earphone color. Why did I turn into Kermit the Frog? And now we get to the section, what's in the box? So in the box, we actually get 2 cables, power adapter, wall stand, and the screen. All right, let's head on over to the table and unbox this and see what's what in reality. All right, so this is the package that I got, and basically what you receive is the big box where the screen is, but apparently the stand is not contained in this box. It's actually shipped as a separate box. So nothing really fancy in here other than instructions, which in this case are only in Mandarin, not in English. We got the stand, so there's the base, but I don't see any screws. Maybe the screws are gonna be in this box. So, oh, yes, there is God level high refresh rate inside. I can't tell you how much I love that. All right, let's open this up. Okay, let's first check the box. What's in the box? And see if we get the screws in there, because that would be good. All right, we got some screws here, and I think we got 4, 8. I think we got all of the screws in here, so that's a cool thing. We got some envelope. Okay, it has a little badge. I was half expecting this to actually say godlike refresh speed, but no. I got instructions, coupon code offer, and a letter to Dasung users, which is something that I'll check at a later point in time. I guess we get cables in here and a power supply. And now I'll need to take this guy out, but I need to take that off camera because there's not enough room on the table to do that. So this is the entirety of the contents that you get with the Dasung Paperlike color revolutionary monitor. So you get the monitor itself, a stand with the base, and a user manual. Screws are included both for the base mounting and mounting the base to the screen. Power supply, USB to A cable, HDMI cable, and a special Dasung, I think it's called Dasung Cast, which I will have to read on what it is, but it's actually a USB-A to an HDMI. So I'm gonna have to read up on and see what that one actually does, and supporting documentation. So basically, you get absolutely everything that you need to hook this up to majority of situations that you may have. And on top of that, you have this giant big red sticker, the very first thing that you see, that discloses the macOS compatibility issues and the information about that, which we've already discussed previously. So that is a really good thing to see, that they're trying their absolute best to disclose the macOS compatibility issues, especially with a product that costs $1,800. That's an important thing to know. All right, so now let's assemble this and mount it, and then see what's it like, and then finally hook it up and see how it performs like. All right, there we go. And it's genuinely exciting and weird to see this size of a panel with a Kaleido 3 panel here. And I gotta say also that the color does look actually quite good, although the resolution, I can already see the PPI that we've discussed previously, that you can definitely see pixelization here. So hopefully you can see how the black color is rendered here, especially the curves in the letters and everything. And of course, in this example of the red power button, you should be able to notice the jaggedness here, which is the inherent limitation of a Kaleido 3 technology, where color content will be displayed at half the resolution of black and white resolution. So that's something that you definitely have to keep in mind. All right, so before I start hooking it up, I want to open, I want to get rid of this, but this is stuck really strongly. Oh God, that should not be. Yeah, you don't need that much sticky tape for this thing that the user is going to take off immediately. Like, why on earth would that be? You usually use just like one blotch here, and blotch there, not the entirety of it. And okay, wow. God level indeed. Anyway, first I want to take a look at the screen build quality and the design. So it is not an inline type of screen, meaning that there is a bezel here and there's definitely an edge that you can see, like an indentation. We have a plastic frame, rather thick frame around the edges of the monitor. This base here is, this plate here is metal and it feels really good, and the buttons here, they are rubber buttons and they feel good. And I'm lifting this thing so that you can see it. So they are rubberized, but they are not fully rubber. So they have a very, very nice tactile feel. So the tactile press is nice and firm, yet the touch itself in interaction with the button is very nice and soft. So I actually like that quite a bit. I can only assume that these here are speakers. Oh, we do have on the side, we do have more USB ports. Well, they should definitely have shown that, because that's pretty cool. So we got 3 USB slots and it can be used as a USB hub for extensions. Excellent stuff. Connections on the bottom as seen on their website. And we got the Visa 10x10 on the back. And that's pretty much it. So it is a heavy little puppy. All right, so what you get is you get the screwdriver kind of thing, but you know, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use my own. But much more importantly, you get this little bag with screws, and there's like 4 screws of each type, so 2 types of screws. Ones are used for Visa mounting, the others are for mounting the base to the stand, and you can differentiate them quite easily because the long black ones are for Visa mounting, the small ones are for mounting the base to the stand. So let's do that. The orientation is rather easy. You have the arrow here and just a notch on the base there. So when you go into here, these 2 notches fit. So there's only one proper way of actually mounting it. When properly oriented, loosely put 1 screw in, then diagonally the opposite. Don't over tighten anything at this point. Remaining 2 screws. At this point, nothing is over tightened. Jiggled it a bit so that everything sets in place. And now you can tighten them in a diagonal fashion again. There we go. We got our base, and the base is actually supported nicely with 6 pads, which is something that I really like, because normally I would see just 4 of them and then you don't have proper support here in the middle, so it's really nice to see that. There we go. So that's our base. Can turn around, it can tilt, and it can swivel as well. Okay, cool. All right, this is going to be easier than I thought because this one is not super spring loaded. So that means that I can actually adjust the angle. And the way I do that is I'm going to prepare this one maximum height, put the base here so that it's lying flat on the floor. And here I'm going to now align it like this so that it, you know, kind of stands on its own, and that should make it much easier to actually mount all of this. So let's put in again the same thing diagonally. First 1 screw, there we go. All right, now we got all 4 of them. Jiggle a bit, get them tight. Don't put too much pressure. They need to be tight, but you don't want to strip the screw or anything else. The build quality is okay, but this whole thing is plastic. Everything here is kind of plastic, and that's why I would be very careful with the amount of pressure that you use when tightening this up, because I wouldn't want this type of plastic to crack or anything like that. All right, so that should be mounted, and yeah, let's see here. It's holding. It's holding it. It's holding it well. Oh, the height adjustment is working. Okay, I know this is not the best angle. We will adjust the angle. This was just for the mounting, but let's see functionalities. Yes, we can tilt, can swivel, height adjustment. Nice. It's noisy. I would expect more sophistication for this price range. I definitely would. But does it function? Yes, it does. And here I can tilt it like this and still work. So full range of motions here. Very easy to operate with, very intuitive to operate. It would be nice to have maybe a notch in the middle, but overall, other than the noise of the height adjustment, I think everything else feels and works really, really good. One thing that I would have liked was maybe the ability to go even lower, but then you wouldn't have this hole here for cable management. So yeah, but overall I think that this stand definitely works as I would expect it, and it works better than some of the stands that I've seen on other screens like Acer, Asus and things like that. All right, so practical things immediately as I encounter them when I'm hooking things up. I have a beef with products that don't really display here where you can easily see what's what for the connections that are down here. So that means that when I'm mounted and I need to hook up a cable, it becomes a faff basically to figure out where's what until you learn exactly what's what, and that's completely unnecessary because a sticker, simple sticker going down here indicating with arrows where which connection is would completely eliminate that problem. All right, so for the first setup attempt I'm gonna try and use my ideal connection, right? And that's gonna be, I want to use the knock-free keyboard in wireless mode by plugging the wireless receiver into the port here. I want to use the mouse wired, hooked up also to the monitor, and I want to only have a single, well, that's not going to work because I'm gonna have to use a USB A as well to hook up the power connection there, or the USB communication there. So C is going to be for the signal, and I'm going to hook it up to the Lenovo Legion here to try it out, because that's basically just a portable PC, but it's a Windows 11 on it. So let's see what we get. All right, so I do have the setup. I got my keyboard and the mouse working, and I've got it working via the USB hub here. That is all hooked up to my Legion here, and I have a single USB-C going from it to the Dasung monitor as the screen communication kind of thing. So what I'm gonna try now is gonna see, like, can I use it normally? And normally I use all of my devices in dark mode, and initially of course you can see that the dark mode is the arch enemy of any e-ink screen, and that is true on this one as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to I don't know, Google News maybe, and let's see if that's a brighter one. Yeah, I expected, out of the box I expected a lot more, and this is running the 3200 by 1800 resolution. Now we do have the controls here, so we can adjust levels to our liking, And of course, much more importantly, we can adjust the modes. So now if I'm in text mode, we can have this, and it's doing the sharpness thing, so the contrast is there. Let's try without the front light. So this is without the front light, and when I'm in text mode, I'm getting this very strange amber like color, and it's really, really dark. So I can see that the contrast is like exploded all the way to the maximum, and only when I go to the lowest levels, there we go. Now I can get a much more normal. That is text mode, and it makes graphics look like this. If I try and adjust it, it just gets to be strange. I do get this amazing speed. Like, the speed is absolutely astonishing that you can, it's god level speed refresh. Deghosting, I probably, but I can't really see it amidst all of this graininess that I can see. Now, maybe it's reacting badly to the night mode filter that maybe is turned on. So let's try and turn that off. That's the only thing that comes to mind. And let's see, turn off night mode. Yes, okay, there we go. I'm glad I noticed what it was. Okay, so it was the night mode that was turning all of this really into a bad kind of experience. Good. Okay, now this is far, far more in line with what I expected. Okay, cool. I'm glad I did this on camera so that I can actually kind of share this experience with you. Okay, now we're talking. All right, so even in text mode, which is not really for graphics, but the readability is extremely good. And let's go into graphics mode. Yep, very nice. The image quality, while not great, still very grainy. It is far better than with that amber tint that was on top of everything because of the night mode that I had turned on. All right, so that is, and the automatic mode. No, this is video. And auto mode. Okay, so let's try keep kind of like a setting that I'm okay with and try and use it normally. All right, so first things, kind of figuring stuff out. Performance, really quick, and clarity, I mean, for an e-ink and for a Kaleido screen, it's okay, but there's definitely lots and lots of ghosting that you can see all throughout. All right, so if I open up an article to read in automatic mode, it's okay. I can zoom in, and then it's definitely the resolution that I'm reacting to. So if I go back to 100, the clarity of the text is really not there, and I'm actually going to zoom in so that you guys can see a bit better. And hopefully now you can actually see what I'm talking about. So while it is readable, it's not something that I would characterize as pleasant. However, as I'm zooming in, it does start to get quite a bit better, and you get to the point where the PPI versus font size gets to a balance where it actually works fine. So, all right, so in this case, this being text, let's switch to text mode, and let's see, without the craziness. All right, so now I have all of the icons visible normally, and I get this, and the readability is really good. So the images in text mode, of course, are going to be problematic, but the ghosting is okay. So you do have manual cleanup as well, which is good, and that works. Is this touch? No, it's not touch. Okay, and yeah, I can easily see myself using this in a very comfortable way to read contents of the screen. Let's turn the front light off now that I have normal settings here. And yeah, this is actually really pleasant. And again, it's a very, very nice experience once you get it, you know, dialed in right. If I go down to 100, yeah, it's starting to be, it's not the brightness that's my problem, it's the resolution, it's the PPI, because the clarity of the rendering is simply not there. So the resolution is an issue, but if I pump it up to 200, for example, then it's fine. Even at 150% size, I can easily read this and very, very comfortably read it with or without the front light. In fact, without the front light, I do enjoy it a bit more, and maybe the camera can catch it. There we go, without reflections, so that you can see how it actually looks like. So for text reading and browsing, and if you're mainly interested in textual content when browsing, that's fine. Now let's see if I could do my Ibanez guitar browsing on this one in a sufficient way. All right, so here we are, and I am in graphics mode, and I've adjusted the contrast values so that it's yeah, roughly where I want it to be. And because it's a gloomy and a dark day, I am going to use the front light, but I'm going to show you also with and without the front light as well. First we start with the front light. And yeah, if I'm just gonna browsing, I no longer have that much issues locating my cursor. It's easier, but it's not as easy as it is on a normal kind of screen. And maybe the contrast setting, yeah. So if I increase the contrast setting, it gets better, but then I lose details. So now I'm trying to kind of find between these two contrast settings, which one is more usable, details or non-details. All right, so let's go down here and let's see just general browsing experience, how it works in reality and how the deghosting is, how the whole thing is. So let's see, AZ series, and let's take a look at what do they have. They still have the old one for sale, which is such a gorgeous one, but they're asking way too much money. However, I am able to look at the details, and then I can zoom in as well, look at the images, I can see the differences. There we go, this is better, this I like better as a mode. So yeah, we get some ghosting, absolutely we get ghosting. Oh, you get a case as well, it's so pretty. Okay, I can't find a sweet spot for the graphics mode, which is, this is what you're supposed to use it for, like as a graphics mode. So, okay, and then I can go a little bit back, browse a bit more, let's see, browse, 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 let's see what they have more, what's more interesting. I can see all the colors normally. The contrast is it's a struggle to find a proper value to display everything correctly, because here I'm absolutely losing the details, like all of the details here in the middle of the guitar are lost. If I lower it, I'm now beginning at the lowest setting, I'm beginning to show black on black in a better way. But yeah, generally speaking, the overall quality then degrades quite a bit. So if I want to have a bit more contrast, then it becomes too strong. So I can't really find the best option here, and I'm frequently losing the X here, the visibility of X, and in the shaded modes, you can see the cursor is, yeah, definitely doing all sorts of weirdness kind of things. All right, then I can use manual refresh. I can normally read stuff. Let's see if we can zoom in for, we said 150 worked fine. And yeah, that translates nicely to reading overall. And if I turn off the front light, yeah, the visibility of images is, it's there, but it's not really that great. Readability of text is really nice and really good. So for text reading, processing, and just dealing with stuff, I think that this screen really can deliver in a good way. As far as graphics content goes, I think it's struggling a little, and it's, for me at least, it's difficult to find a proper mode. So now let's try and play a video here. All right, and let's see what we get. Good Lord. Okay, the volume control is ridiculous. So where would be the volume control on this one? I guess nowhere. That was noisy. So let's adjust. Okay, so it is loud. Then it can show images. Okay, let's turn off the sound so that we can focus on the images here. So this is graphics mode. So let's switch to video mode. Again, struggling to find a good balance here. Yes, it is displaying video, but not really a fan of how it looks. This is auto mode. And this is kind of okay in text mode. It's impressive actually that it's able to do ghost-free in text mode to display video content. But in graphics mode, I'm actually quite most pleased about how it works, although there's quite a bit of blinking. So if you don't want that blinking, then you go down to video mode, but then you get almost like an overlay of degradation. Like you have a really dirty screen, and then you're looking at it that way. So technically speaking, yes, it is impressive that it can do 33 Hertz. And I think that it's definitely delivering that. There's smoothness of motions, there's remarkable absence of ghosting in this mode. Definitely I can see that, because we're looking at probably the best that I've ever seen an e-ink Kaleido screen perform, especially on a high resolution and high size panel like this one. I mean, this is fairly impressive, the absence of ghosting. However, there is this constant overlay of dark blotches and splotches that's constantly there. This is constantly present with or without the front light, whether it's combined, cold, warm, or off. It is simply how the screen functions. So let's now try and open up a different type of video, and we might as well go to YouTube. All right, so here we go. Let's go to 4K. So we have maximum quality. And automatic mode. Without front light. With front light. Video mode, no, let's go to video mode. Trying to get some, it's almost impossible to find a setting that will show details in color content, and simply because two reasons. The overlay of that dark splotchiness and the resolution of the color content is just really low, so the detail is gone. But it does display it in an okay way. However, we can see stars ghosting here, we can see ghosting here, because it's darker content. Let's go forward and get to daylight. So this is fairly bright, and this should be a nice one. So in auto mode, we get that flickeriness. It is really impressive what you can actually see in text mode. Text mode for me, refreshing wise, quality wise, is the best. It's unfortunate that it's not suitable for graphics content. Then we switch to graphics, and then you get all of this shimmeriness, strangeness going on. Okay, video mode. The resolution is already so low that the degradation that they have to use in video mode is just too strong for my taste. I mean, it works. Definitely you do get that smoothness. Ghosting is fine, but the clarity of image is not there. So for me, as I expected, it's not for that. Can it show this kind of stuff? Yeah, I think that it can show if you're willing to accept a ton of compromises, but it's not meant for that. It's far more well suited for basically text reading, text operation, browsing, and that kind of stuff. All right, so now let's test it out in a flipped mode and see how that works. All right, so now I am in portrait mode. I've zoomed in so that you guys can see the text quality and the image quality that's here. I am in zoomed in state 150 ppi, right? So if I go even higher, then it's better. And if I go down to 100, yeah, the resolution is just too low for the scale of 100 to actually read that normally. But at 150, this is more than nice. The size of the screen is absolutely awesome for this type of content, and the adjustability of the stand is really, really good. So this was just an example of how it looks like with the front light turned on. This is with the front light turned off, so that you can see how the performance is for this typical type of use. And here we are in a zoomed out state, so that you can see the whole portrait thing and how the lighting actually affects it. So if I turn it more towards the light, it doesn't really get too much brighter, you just get a little bit more reflection. So that's actually okay for me, because it doesn't really depend on facing the light source so much directly, and actually in this type of mode it's perfectly fine. It's, yeah, it has Kaleido tree darkness, there's no question about that. And in this mode I have zero idea where my cursor is. I am flying blind. I know it's somewhere around here, so I can just, there we go, then I can see it, but only when you leave it still, then it's going to appear. With the front light, yes, it becomes considerably easier. I wish there was a combination to adjust the front light intensity, maybe front light and minus. There we go. Cool. Very, very intuitive. So I can use front light and minus to adjust the front light intensity to the minimum. And I do like it. At the minimum intensity, it's really, really good. So these are the intensity levels that we have. It can get really bright, like super bright. I don't know why would you need that. But at the lowest level, this is extremely comfortable. This basically compensates for the darkness of the Kaleido, and maybe on the level 2, it just gets to be even more comfortable. I still have issues locating where the cursor is, and what I would probably do if I were to use this screen on a regular basis would be to actually customize my cursor so that it's of a darker color, so that I don't have white on white, because I know that I would use bright and white type of backgrounds if I'm using this screen, because it really does not lend itself well for dark type of backgrounds or a dark mode or anything like that. All right, so that's pretty cool. I'm fairly certain that there's other combinations here. I'm gonna read through the user manual and figure them out, but all of that is gonna be for the in-depth review. This is just first impressions and me sharing with you and documenting my first step and first impression experience with this monitor, so that you can actually see, like on the fly, how these things are and how when it's misused, like using a night mode and things like that, what are the things that you can actually expect to see if you don't really approach it as a specialized type of technology and a specialized type of monitor? If you try to expect and use it as a just plug and play type of monitor, I don't think that you can, because the technology doesn't really allow that. So you still have to prepare yourself for compromises, concessions, and basically different approaches, so that you can have so you can extract the optimal amount of experience and quality out of a product like this, because I think it's worth it, because I think that it does have plenty to offer that you simply cannot find on any other type of technology. This, for coding, for writing, for anything like that, I absolutely adore this type of format. All right, so here I opened up just a regular Excel sheet here, and we are in text mode. Let's go back to text mode, and you really need to adjust the contrast levels to some strange intensities to see everything properly, because, for example, only when I go to the almost absolute maximum levels where colors get to be weird, then I can see the cells of the Excel sheet. Everything else, now they are barely visible, but that was just ghosting. They're not really visible. You just see all of the edges here, and if I go down, soon these disappear as well. So basically, for normal type of usability, I have a problem with the text mode here, because for Excel sheet, for example, in order to see the cells, which you need to, I need to bump up the contrast to such a degree that I no longer am able to see any of the tabs here if I'm using a dark mode, which I normally do, and I should be able to see the tabs here, but I don't. I'm guessing that I would be able to see them in light mode, but I'm not going to switch that. But much more importantly, I have a problem here with the sheets themselves down here. The colors are weird and distorted. I have this weird cyan-like color on the top. If I were to choose my colors, most of them are completely exploded, so I can't really see the color palette, the basic color palette that Google Sheets is offering, or Excel. The data that's displayed, while some of the colors will be fine, so the red, blue is okay, it's the clarity of text on color is simply strange. It's not really working as I would expect it to. So most of the main colors are working fine, but as you've seen, basically if I go to the palette, not all of them will be displaying nicely. So I would need to, you can see just how they are popping up as you're adjusting the contrast levels, right? So this is the highest contrast, less, 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 less. And this is basically just the interpretation of the screen. What level of darkness will it automatically interpret as black and then render as black? And you have the opposite as well. Which level of grayness will it interpret as white and then render them as white, as you can see in this upper range here. So if I start increasing, so you can see black ones there, but I start increasing and more of these guys appear. But there is no mode that I can see easily that you can actually see all of the graphics here in text mode. Let's see if in graphics mode do we have that as a better situation. So in the lowest contrast, yes, I can see all of the palettes, and I can even see the grayscale down to level 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I'm increasing, it is not as Not as extreme as the text mode is, but these are definitely going into the black category here. So lightest level of contrast, second, third. Two of the lightest levels of the contrast you can use in graphics mode to actually see the entirety of the palette, for example, for an Excel sheet. Which is okay, but the problem here is the image quality. And if I zoom in, the rendering of characters is simply not good enough. It's just not. So I would have to resort to zooming in again. And let's see how far do we have to zoom in for this to become clear and something that I'm happy with. Again, 150%, yes. At a zoom level of 150%, then the compromise becomes kind of an okay balance for something that I could potentially use on a monitor like this, and overall it looks like this. So the palette, yep, I will get the whole palette, and I would have the readability of this, and also, no, I don't see the whole cells, so I would need to increase until I get to this point. There we go. Now I can see the cells, but what happened to the palette? Better than in text mode, and I do have a grayscale, and do have most of the colors, but quite a few of them are now gone into dark. So not really an ideal situation if what you're looking for is Excel work or Google Sheets work for this screen. It's kind of difficult to find an option where everything is usable as it normally should be, right? So if you're going to use a screen like this, it needs to be able to display text in normal quality, so it's comfortably readable, because the whole point of the screen is comfort and reading and health-oriented stuff, that you can see the cells of your Excel sheet, and that you can see, because it is a color monitor, that you can see the color palette, which is a limited palette of an Excel sheet, but that you can have all of those colors still usable. And that is not something that I can easily get out of the box with this screen. I can get somewhere close to it with a bit of, fiddling, but not really all the way there. And just for completeness sake, so what we were seeing was with the front light on level 2 on, and this is with the front light off, how it looks like. And here is the color palette of the same settings without the front light in these gloomy, overcast, dark type of lighting conditions. Perfectly usable, still fine, but it's really nice that it has a front light that you can just make it that much more comfortable, and then just kind of lower it if you want it, or like this. It's really, really nice way to adjust this on the screen. Okay, so first impressions, I wanted to just capture them on camera and share them with you, and share my journey of exploration and understanding and learning this technology, because sometimes I've seen that other viewers and users can actually find that to be a useful kind of thing. Now, the upcoming video that's going to come afterwards, which is going to be the in-depth review of this whole thing, that's going to be the standard format of, the measurements and blah, 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 comparisons and all that kind of stuff. Although it's going to be quite tricky to actually expose one of the key components of this screen, which is how does it perform in daytime and in sunlight, because I live in Norway and the daylight is fast going down. We still have it, that's good, but it is going down. And also the sunshine, I don't really know what that is. We just have cloudy, hazy, rainy stuff. However, if it does happen that there is a sunny day, I will try to gather some footage of this screen so that I can include that in the in-depth review, but it's not a guarantee because of the environment and the world. How to summarize my first impressions? Mixed, very much mixed. I like the potential that it can deliver, and I think that for text reading, writing, editing, and for coding, I think that this screen can perform really, really well, especially because you can so easily yeah, flip it into portrait mode, and then it lends itself for that type of purpose really, really well. Especially when you set the modes and the contrast and everything up just so. It's so comfortable and so nice to actually use that it was very, very cool. Unfortunately, so far my experience, I was expecting that this kind of screen would easily be able to extend into using the PowerPoints, or more importantly Google Sheets or Excel and kind of things. But as I've shown, the aggressive settings and the ways that it's calibrated with the contrast and, you know, assuming what's white and what's black and calling the values there, that is really not lending itself really well for Google Sheets types of usage, both for the palette and for the visibility of grid cells. And the final thing that I think for me was the biggest issue is the resolution itself. The density of the image itself, it's like, yes, on paper it says that it's 3200 by 1800, which should be plenty, right, for a monitor, and it is. But when you take into consideration that this is a Kaleido 3 panel and that is actually a halved resolution, what you actually have for color content is more akin to 1600 by 900 pixels at best on a 25.3-inch screen, and in certain cases for clear colors it's gonna go down to a third of the original resolution, which would be, come on, quick math, that would be 1100 by 600 pixel resolution for that. So the inherent limitations of the Kaleido 3 panel technology are something that really did come to play, and it did kind of rear its head when I was testing this first impression of this screen. That being said, it was incredibly easy to compensate for that shortcoming by simply holding Control and scroll and zoom to 150 level of zoom, and then it was a nice balance, and then I could enjoy using it in a really good way. However, if what you're looking for is like a crisp display of tiny content and stuff like that, this screen and this technology can't do that. But what it can do is deliver godlike levels of speed refresh at 33 Hz. And that part was actually quite impressive, because in all of the modes, the way that this as an e-ink screen basically performs, it is, well, I wouldn't characterize it godlike, but I would characterize it as quite impressive and something that I haven't seen on other devices and other technologies of similar kind. And that to me includes both the speed and the ghosting performance itself. Is it ghosting free? Absolutely not. Is it something that you can compare to LCD? No, nor should you, because they are not the same type of technologies. But it is something that's really, really easy and comfortable to use. Would I use it for watching video content on it? No, maybe completely meaningless YouTube videos or something like that. But anything that I care about visual content, I absolutely would not use it for that. Would I use it to watch movies? Absolutely not, because it can't do that. The level of details that's lost is just too great. So why does the scrolling matter? Well, it matters because you're not using a tablet with a screen, you're using a computer with this monitor, and the computer interactions and gestures and all of that stuff relies on smoothness of the display panel that you're interacting with. And here I think that this screen really nails that point in a good way that no other screen that I've seen before, e-ink screen before, managed to do that. So this is the first e-ink screen that I would actually genuinely consider using for, albeit extremely limited set of circumstances and use case scenarios, such as web browsing, reading, typing, and coding. Those are the ones that I personally would be able to use it, and I would assume my first impression so far is that I would find that quite enjoyable to actually use in those circumstances. So that in itself is a big deal because previously I was completely unable to use it due to lack of colors, the amount of ghosting, and to the slowness of the refresh rates. All of three have been addressed in this screen. Is this worth to you or to me $1,800? No. To me personally, no. To you, only you can know that. But I would urge you to kind of wait for the final judgment whether or not this device is for you or not until I perform all of the tests and I bring you the in-depth review, because please do remember that this is simply the unboxing and first impressions of the Dasung 25.3 Paperlike color Revo, or revolutionary, monitor for computers. I hope that you found the video informative and or useful. If you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description below. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!